Cheers. New location. We're coming to you from Huddle Brewing in downtown Las Vegas, on the little brewery row here. Come check it out for sure. Dope spot. Really good beer.
Get some great beer, get some great barbecue, Soul Belly.
Yeah, so great eats, great beers, and there's all kinds of cool stuff down here to check out. But let's get into the nerd stuff. So I know you haven't quite caught up on Andor yet, but just to touch on things, it looks like we're getting these like 3-episode arcs right now. So first one was who's Andor, right?
Yeah.
What's his deal? Second arc was kind of like the front lines of the rebellion. Now we're dipping into the political intrigue side of the rebellion.
Yeah.
Where the money comes from, where the power comes from. So we're getting a very Mon Mothma heavy episode, but also getting into some of Andor's, tying up his loose ends, as it were. So he doesn't really have anything left that he cares about.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're setting up here right now. Like his mom has no idea what he just did, but knows of what he just did and is inspired to join the rebellion, which is an interesting turn.
Yeah.
And she's kind of going on like a suicide by imp arc right now, because it ends with her picking up a blaster rifle, ready to die. We're seeing the machinations of Mon Mothma, trying to get political and financial support. And then what I thought was a great callback, from like the early, prequels, we're getting, I forget the character's name, but the guy that was in charge of the banking plan, he's back. And apparently he's friends with Mon Mothma from childhood, and he hates the Empire. But she's like trying to coax him out and trying to feel him out, trying to find out where he's at. And he thinks she's a sellout.
Oh, damn.
So she's like, I want to talk to you about some sensitive stuff. He's like, I don't think you'd like my politics because frankly the Empire fucking sucks. And she's kind of like, let's keep talking.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's this for? And she's like, I'll never tell you.
Yeah.
I just want my money. So apparently Mon Mothma can't get her funds from her family's fortune because of the Empire.
Frozen.
But he's in charge of the banking plan, so he can make things happen. So I think that's where we're going with that. But yeah, I really like what they're doing. I can't imagine what's going to happen because it ends with Andor going to jail for 6 years for walking down the beach at the wrong time. So
sounds like hopefully we get a return of Bill Burr's space personality. He's going to break him out with his Boston accent.
Well, he might still be part of the Empire there, so that might be what gets him out of the Empire even. That'd be interesting if they did that.
Yeah, because we know that he was around at least until Night of the Thousand Tears on
so he was there until like the Mandalorian Purge.
Yeah,
so, exactly.
exactly.
So we'll be interesting to see. That'd be a cool callback,
Yeah, that would be pretty dope.
But we saw our first K2 droid.
Yeah.
Nearly choked Andor out. But I'm guessing the 6 years prison sentence really got to harden him towards the Empire needs to go down.
Season 2 of Andor is just nothing but Prison Break, Season 5 in space.
Well, now I'm getting conflicting reports because I heard that the seasons were going to be like 12 episodes long
That's what I've been hearing. It's supposed to be 2 12-episode seasons.
Right. So we'll see if there's more here or if it ends here. Like, I was surprised Game of Thrones is ending next week. To be honest with you, I thought they had another like 10 episodes to go.
Well, so I mean, like for me, it's always been in my mind. If you're doing half hours, expect about 20 episodes. If you're doing an hour, expect between 10 and 13.
Right. I think we're getting 7 or 8 with Game of Thrones or something like that. Maybe 9.
Next week will be 10. So
really?
I was talking to my girlfriend about this because it started before Rings of Power.
Yes.
And is ending now after Rings of Power.
That's true. Okay.
And so apparently it's going to be four seasons of 10 episodes each. And apparently, like, a lot of the fandom's already been kind of, like, trying to figure out where events happen and what parts of the season. Like, all right, well, typically for a 10-episode season, you want to have your big twist at, like, episode 9. So we're thinking these twists could happen in here in episode 9, with the rest slotting in these episodes. And people have been trying to plan out what's going to happen with Hot D.
I guess they forgot the first, 8 years of Game of Thrones because they always end on something psychotic.
Oh yeah.
The first season ended with Ned Stark getting his fucking head chopped off.
So I'm calling it now. I think what's gonna kick it off because here's the thing. It sounds so weird, but I never got into Game of Thrones until like I would say like the last season, and that's only
I'm
because
sorry, my condolences.
yeah. Well, the weird thing is that like I had an HBO account, and I was never really interested in it at all. And then I started reading like information about like the backstory with like Prince Rhaegar and all that stuff, and the Dance of Dragons and stuff. So weirdly enough, I'm well versed on the history of the Song of Ice and Fire. Game of Thrones itself, I had no clue what the fuck was going on because all the stuff prior to that was kind of cool to me.
Right.
And so it wasn't until my buddy was like, I need a place to watch like the last 2 or 3 episodes. So legitimately, the episode where the party ventures beyond the wall to get a white was the first episode of Game of Thrones I've ever watched.
Oh my god!
In its entirety, and I was like, this is D&D party. So I know all about Dance of Dragons. So like knowing that, I'm pretty sure next episode is going to be Eye Patch Kid Aemond.
Yeah.
He kind of kicks off the war by killing someone very specifically.
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna be the end of next episode. It's gonna be the big kind of twist reveal to it, and that's what's gonna we're gonna go into season 2 waiting for that shit to drop, you know?
Yeah, it looks like we're definitely getting some kind of dragon fights in this one by the trailer. I mean, Alicent is just the most frustrating person on television, and that is a credit to her actor, and the writing, because you should be frustrated with her. She's a piece of shit, right?
I mean, listen, the fact that she's able to frustrate people is the reason that Laris is doing shit for her, so he can jerk off to her feet. Like the man is still walking.
How did y'all like the very first OnlyFans, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That was that came out of left field. It wasn't expecting that. Never get that image out of my eyes.
I'm not gonna lie, when she takes her shoes off, I'm like, okay, this seems strange. They've never done this before. And I was like, is this a foot fetish thing? And then she takes off her sock and it's like, oh, it's definitely a foot fetish thing. When she turns and his hand goes into his robe, it's like, oh, we're doing this.
Right.
Shit. All right, fuck.
Yeah.
And you know that's a routine where he just has to say if it's something you wish, and she's like, well, I guess I gotta turn my fucking feet this way now.
Yeah, wild, right?
You can jerk out to my feet, but I'm not gonna watch at least.
Oh boy, yeah, I did not see that one coming.
Well, neither did Allison.
Yeah. So it's funny. I got into Game of Thrones right before the second season dropped. I couldn't sleep one night. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and they're playing the first season. So it's the very first episode, or maybe I was the second episode. I can't remember. But basically, I watch them oh yeah, it was the first episode because 5 minutes in, Ned starts to chop someone's fucking head off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm invested, right? And I watch it, and then I remember I watched a couple episodes, and I woke my girlfriend up at the time, and I said, you need to come watch this with me. And she's like, what? I'm like, it's Lord of the Rings if it was badass and had boobs. And she's like, what? Come watch this with me. Next thing you know, we stayed up until 3 o'clock in the afternoon watching the first season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And then we were hooked for the next several years, yeah, wow. But so I was up to date on Game of Thrones the whole way through, but this, I purposely am coming in kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the same way. I don't want to know too much. I want the show to inform it, but yeah, Rhaenyra is definitely losing a kid this week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. There's something about in this trailer. There's a shot of Aemond who I don't know why, because I saw this meme and it was basically rooting for people in Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon is rooting for your favorite war criminal, and it really is true.
No doubt.
And I'm not gonna lie. I'm 100% only for pure aesthetic reasons. I'm backing Team Aemond, Mr. Eye Patch.
Yeah.
He just looks like a piece of shit who I want to see kill a bunch of people. And so there's a quick shot of him about to take off his eye patch. And apparently, I remember this from the books. Apparently he decides to replace his eye with a fucking sapphire.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they're gonna actually do it. And I hope they fucking do it.
My understanding is at the start of the Dance of the Dragons, he removes his eye patch and makes everyone look at his wound.
Yeah.
He's not hiding it from anyone anymore. He's nope, we're at war, so you can see me for who I am. I want you to see what the blacks did to me.
Yeah.
So it makes sense in a degree in this world that he wants everyone to know the cruelty in his eyes of what the blacks are capable of.
Now I know it's probably an emerald, like chiseled down to be in the shape of an eye, but we all know the classic like gem shape with like the point and the weird faceted sides. Part of me wishes that was what was just jammed in his eye socket with the point sticking out of like the one eye hole and just kind of swivels about in the direction he's looking.
That, or if it looked like one of those eyeballs they use in the
Last Action
in the
Hero?
council.
Oh,
in
that'd
the
be cool.
council.
That would
So
be
you got
cool as
those
fuck.
big like stone eyes. If he had something like that where it's like, but like sapphire color, and he just like shoved it in the socket, you know, it basically looks like a big cat's eye.
Just
That'd
looks
be
like
kinda dope.
Mad Eye Moody as he's supposed to look.
Right, exactly. Like, and boy, yeah, like, yeah, Allison, like her interpretation of that story when like she even said like your son Aegon, and he's like no, and she didn't hear that part but heard the rest. No, not the young Aegon, the old Aegon, the Aegon the Conqueror. Like, you know, he's half dying, but like,
Right?
yeah.
It's the weirdest thing too. It's like, I mean, I get what they're going for, and they're right on the cusp of forgiving each other. But again, it almost seems like, as with most television, a simple conversation between two people would have prevented many deaths.
Say hi to the Flash, CW. Yeah, you
All
know,
of Star Wars.
right.
All of Star Wars. Hey, Obi-Wan, I'm nailing Senator Amidala. You can no longer be a Jedi, my friend, but we'll spirit you away to Naboo where you can bang her to your heart's content. And
Right.
there you have it. No more fucking
Or we
Skywalker
would have
saga.
gotten the story from the Clone Wars was like, I almost did the same thing,
Yeah.
so I understand you.
So here's my lightsaber. We're gonna
So
cut
this
your
is
dick
why,
off.
or this is why you can't be a Jedi Master, but I will keep your secret, but stop asking to be a Jedi Master,
Yeah, basically.
because you're not. But I'll help you out.
Yeah.
I'll make sure you don't go to jail. That probably would have been the conversation, you know, like,
Well, remember what George said. You can clap cheeks. You just can't have attachments. It's fine.
right.
You'd be like, no, I don't love this bitch. Fuck her. Who cares about her? I'm just hitting from back. It's fine.
But a pair of twins, that's a pretty big attachment.
Apparently, I guess it is.
Yeah. But no, I'm really digging House of the Dragon. It's really cool. Even if it's shorter than the original series, and as far as the seasons go, I'm digging it. It's dope.
Well, here's the thing. So, like, I was thinking because, like, I don't know. You had Game of Thrones, and for me, it almost seems like the main story is the least interesting part of the world.
Oh, yeah.
built. So, I mean, you have the Dance of the Dragon, which is great, but you can easily do Aegon's Conquest if you want, which is a really good story. You can do any of the Blackfire Rebellion. You can do like 9 seasons of Blackfire Rebellion if you write it correctly.
Yeah.
And it's fine. You have one character who's the piece of shit who stretches through all of them, and it's bitter steel, and like you can easily do that story, and you're fine.
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing. They're being, one, HBO's playing it safer. One, because of new ownership, and two, because of how they got burned on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But actually, it's making for better TV. You know, you can tell they're spending more on special effects. It's very dragon heavy, so you need that.
You 100% do need that.
And I think we're going to get different stories. You know, like we're already talking about getting the Jon Snow series, like very soon. Like
Yeah.
probably this coming year. So, yeah, I'm actually happy that it's shorter seasons, but like dense.
Fleshed out, and they know what they're doing.
And we're getting time jumps, so we're not getting filler episodes. So like, because they're not, you know, Game of Thrones is trying to weave this like, you know, 8-year-long story in real time almost.
Yeah.
Where this is like, yeah, we're covering like,
4 years.
yeah, we're covering like, you know, a whole, you know, household. We're not just covering a specific event. So
Yeah.
I kind of dig that.
Speaking of, so you mentioned that with, you know, with the change of ownership in HBO and stuff. I actually kind of want to bring this up. So have you heard the news about Walter Hamada?
Yeah.
So like that got like, so not surprised at all.
No,
It
it's a long time coming.
Walter Hamada, Jeff Johns, and Joss Whedon were like the 3 big assholes on set of Zack Snyder's, like, you know, Justice League, right?
Right.
And so after Ray Fisher named him and all this shit, like, the man's not long for this job. He's the president of Warner Brothers. Like, Jeff Johns at least can fall back on Blackest Night and can write comics if he needs to. Joss Whedon could, I don't know. I mean, okay. At the time, it was like, Joss Whedon will survive this. And then more shit came out about Joss Whedon and he could not survive that. But at the time, the prospects looked okay for him. But Walter Hamada was like, no, as the CEO of a fucking corporation, that's not something you can do. So like it was basically like the clock started ticking at that point. And so the fact that he's now only out is surprising to me.
Joss Whedon killed his career the way he kills secondary characters.
Yeah, he really fucking did. Just without a second thought. Out of second thought, you know?
But we got a boner joke out of it in WandaVision, so...
We really did. You know what? Okay, so what's wild to me is that we have Walter Hamada leaving, right? And apparently, like, when all the news he's leaving was also coming out that he apparently killed the Cavill cameo in Black Adam. There was supposed to be a Henry Cavill like cameo, and he squashed it because apparently Walter Hamada was the one pushing for the two Black Superman movies that are coming out, the Val Zod.
But see, I'm hearing that it's in the movie. Like,
okay, and so I keep hearing that. I keep hearing it's
like
both
apparently
ways.
The Rock is telling people in interviews, like, yeah, come see you for a real super surprise, and like.
And you know what? Honestly, they may have felt because here's the thing, like with the shawarma scene, and there's been a couple other big stinger sequences that were literally filmed the week before a movie dropped. I would be surprised if they were like, no, man, you're out. You got to announce it by this date, and you got to get your deal in order.
Like we got the public announcement, but that doesn't mean he hasn't been fired for a month.
Yeah, exactly. You know? So he may have already known that. And they may have filmed that cameo and got that shit in the works. But apparently, like that was one of the big driving factors to get him on the outs was that he was trying to Cavill.
Yeah.
No worries. So would any of you have 50 cents to possibly help me out with?
I got no cash from
I
you.
got
I'm
no
sorry.
cash from you, bro. Sorry about that, y'all. Downtown Vegas. Yeah, so, no, Hamada needed to go, and he had these weird ideas in his head about how to handle DC, and they were all wrong, by the way, in case you haven't figured that out yet. But, like, look, I would love a Michael B. Jordan Superman movie. I think it would be great. He's a great actor, but, like, that boat sailed. You know, like.
Well, the thing is that, like, so I think the one that's on the table, because there's two. There was the Michael B. Jordan one, and then there was the J.J. Abrams one with Ta-Nehisi Coates, and that one was supposed to be supposedly a Black Kal-El movie, right? Michael B. Jordan's movie is Val Zod specifically, so like Michael B. Jordan, I don't see getting axed, especially with how hot he is on Black Panther, especially with him having a cameo in the new Black Panther movie and still up in there whether he gets the role.
Yeah.
That is still a possibility. That's still being talked about. He may still get the role as like a resurrected Killmonger, you know?
Right. Well, that's the thing. I saw an interview with him, and he's literally like, I'm weighing Marvel versus DC. Do I take the secondary, continue the secondary role as Eric Killmonger, or do I be Superman?
Yeah.
Like
President Superman too, because like if I'm not mistaken, doesn't Val Zod becomes president of his world at some point?
I don't know that one too well, so
okay. Yeah,
but yeah, like
look that up. I'm pretty sure he does become president of his own world at some point.
Yeah, so I mean, I understand that's like a hard decision to make, but like, Marvel has taken 20 years to get us to the multiverse through multiple kinds of media, mostly the movies, but now the television shows on Disney Plus, and certain graphic novels are basically tied in, and other forms of media are tied into the MCU at this point, right?
Yeah.
And DC keeps skipping the steps. Like they had to hurry up and start introducing multiverse ideas before we ever got to the multiverse in Marvel. But Kevin Feige is being patient, and he's building up to that. Where they were just like, they heard that at some point down the line, Marvel was going to introduce the multiverse. So, like, let's quick do it like this little flash dream that may or may not be a dream. It might be a multiverse. It might be a future. We don't know. We'll figure it out along the way.
Well, so that's the thing, though. Like, to their credit, when it comes to DC and Marvel comics, Marvel very specifically, with the exceptions of like, again, downtown Las Vegas, just nonstop thrills.
Hey, at least he turned off the alarm when he went by.
Exactly. So, with the exception of like the 2099 or like the Spider-Gwen universe or very specific like timelines that continued for multiple stories, Marvel didn't do multiverse a lot. DC with their Earth 1, Earth 2 shit constantly continually running side by side, multiverse is their bread and butter. And so, like from a DC perspective, how you make yourself stand out from Marvel, you jump straight into the multiverse by introducing those things. Like the whole concept of like worlds of DC is not It's not a bad concept.
No, it's a great
just,
concept.
They've just bumbled. They just
Right.
bumbled it from the
That,
get-go.
and that's my thing. Like, Marvel laid groundwork to get the norms into it, right?
Yeah.
Where DC was just like expecting everyone to know all of DC lore off the rip.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, everyone knows the Trinity, but outside of that, you have to build up to that. You know, like they jumped right into Justice League like a couple movies in, you know, and
Yeah.
it's like people
I'll say
weren't
this:
ready
the
for it.
only kind of interesting thing they threw out there was establishing, and not as old as he is, but an older Batman
Yeah,
with your movies. Because the thing is that, like, cool, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, the Justice League, great, awesome. However, there are so many more people who know and love the extended Bat family who can carry an entire universe off the Bat family alone
Right.
of films.
and then they just dropped that.
Exactly. Oh, Dick Grayson's fucking dead, because that was apparently what Zack Snyder was pushing for, was that to be Dick Grayson, not Jason Todd. And it's like, you could have done Jason Todd. Dick Grayson's out there, which means you can now have a movie already in the works of Nightwing. And then you can introduce Tim Drake as his own kind of thing, and boom, maybe Tim Drake's there for a movie, and then you introduce Damian Wayne in the next movie as a challenger to the Robin title. And there's so many things you can do to extend it. But no, we're just gonna kill it at Robin, and that was Bruce Wayne's one and done. It was Dick Grayson. He's fucking dead. And like, I heard that, I was like, you know what? Fuck you, DC.
Right. Yeah, like that's what I mean. They just keep skipping steps, and like they want that bought-in universe, but they're not earning that buy-in.
They're
know?
really not at all.
And you know, and the recent stuff like axing the Batgirl movie, when everything
Oh, that's so
looked
dumb.
great about that, but then we're continuing with reshoots on Flash with a guy who might be going to jail soon.
Right. Jesus Christ. So, you know, like, shelving it permanently was stupid. Finishing it up, putting it on the back burner, and doing reshoots to establish it within your timeline was the perfect choice.
Right. And my
Right,
understanding is
because-
it's done. It's in the can.
Yeah, like, because I know they're going back and reshooting a Ben Affleck cameo for the Aquaman movie, but that was only because of Michael Keaton had already been established. But with Flash being delayed because of all the shit that Ezra Miller's doing, it makes sense they had to do a reshoot for that. So they don't want to spoil their load with, like, Bruce Wayne showing up as Michael Keaton. But if you're doing that, then hold on to Batgirl for a year or two at least, and then drop it in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
nothing they're doing makes much sense right now, and it's unfortunate because, like, they have potential, but then, like, I think if they would have established in one of the early movies that, like, they could have done it like Green Lantern, how they introduced like the Green Lantern Corps and that whole like universe, and you know the whole concept of it.
yeah.
So you know, like, ideally in movies, it's show me, not tell me. But if you're gonna tell me, like, lay the groundwork.
Yeah.
That movie laid the groundwork for that universe. So, like, you could have started, whether it be like a Batman movie or a Superman movie, in this new, like, okay, we've decided this is what we're doing moving forward. Like, establish it off the rip that there's multiple Earths,
Oh, yeah.
that there's multiple universes, and these are tales from some of those universes. And then that clears you up for all your future movies, and there's no more confusion.
Yeah.
And you start all of your DC movies. If you start all your DC movies with that same narration, like there's multiple Earths, and this is a tale from one of them. And then we go into the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix. We
Right.
go in, yeah, and then you get that intro, and we go into the Superman movie. You go and do that intro, Batman
Yeah,
v
you can do
Superman.
a cool ass like intro, like how Marvel does their thing where they pan to the Marvel logo with all the different shots from the movies.
But
you
you
do
just-
like a pan around with the DC logo with someone talking about like these are the stories of the DC universe, something like that.
How he
Fucking does.
look, yeah. Forget Walter Hamada, hire me. Like, and I don't even like DC that much. Make my Marvel, like, but I still fix the DC universe
I'm
for
just
you.
saying, with
You're
that
welcome.
beard, we could probably somehow get a DC logo dyed within that beard, and we'd be fine. We could shave it.
No,
perfectly
this
every
this is
time.
the Bifrost.
This is the Bifrost.
I'm Heimdall. Yeah, you know, like, I'm already hearing Black Adam falls kind of flat.
So I've been hearing the exact opposite, but it's only it's been like people are like, oh, it's brutal, it's action packed, it's amazing, but it's only been talking about how awesome the action sequences are, and so
Right.
it probably has no story.
Right, that's
And-
any rock movie. Yeah, of
I
course,
mean,
you
yeah,
gotta get
exactly.
action and effects.
But also, it's weird too that like they're trying to establish this movie based upon The Rock's just general personality.
right, like, where's the Shazam tie-in?
See, that's the thing. That should have been a stinger, right?
Right, because
But,
he's
like-
literally wearing Shazam's outfit.
Yeah. So, but like that's the thing. It's The Rock. Like The Rock doesn't lose, baby. Like The Rock is no second fiddle in a movie. You know what I'm saying? Not
Right,
anymore. He's
but
The
it's
Rock.
just, it's just funny. Like,
Upon this rock, the DC church shall be built. You know what I'm saying?
hey, you know, good luck. Good luck. Give us Hal Jordan, I might forgive you. You know, like, or
See-
you know, Jon Stewart. Actually, give me Jon Stewart. Give me Jon Stewart, and I might let it
And,
slide.
and I'm the guy here who's just like, you know what? You want to make me happy? Give me a Nightwing movie. Give me a Question movie. Give me a Batman Beyond movie, and I'll be happier to pick a chick. You know what I'm
Batman
saying?
Beyond would be
I
great.
would lose my fucking mind.
And I was hoping that's where they were going, and that was one of the rumors I heard was that we were going to get Batgirl, then we get Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne, because he's not really Batman anymore, and he is mentoring her, but she would be in the like cyber suit.
So here's the thing, like
Which
I
I
don't
want
have a
Terry
problem with
McGinnis.
that. I definitely want Terry McGinnis because you definitely need that because. So, Terry McGinnis is basically if Spider-Man was in the DC universe,
Right.
and the guys who worked on Batman Beyond have even said we were writing a Spider-Man show essentially. So, the fact that they're gonna try and axe him out, I'm like, you leave my boy alone. That man deserves where he needs to be as the true heir to the Batman.
Yeah.
That said, there is a really, really good story of Batgirl Beyond.
Yeah.
And essentially, she comes up, and before like she gets really kind of established with the Bat family, Commissioner Barbara Gordon shows up and is like, "Oh, a Batgirl. I know something about that. Why don't you come with me? Let's have a talk." Essentially, and so she becomes like Bruce to this girl's new like Terry McGinnis. Essentially, you could easily have done that. You didn't need to make her Barbara Gordon if you were going
Right.
that route with Batman, a Beyond universe. You do Batgirl Beyond, Batman Beyond, hell, even Robin Beyond if you wanted to. Like, give me old ass Tim Drake in a Robin costume.
Yeah.
And then you do the big twist in the third movie where it's Joker and it's Return of the Joker. You just do a live action Return of the Joker. Oh my God! Can you just imagine Mark Hamill in tights as old man Tim Drake? And then
Mark
you do the
Hamill,
turn.
Mark Hamill as the Joker up against Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne. Again, Warner
Did
Brothers.
you watch the
just
Flash
send me a
episode
check.
with the Trickster?
Yes, I love that, and I watched that back in the like '90s too.
Basically, like I mean, like the most recent one.
No, but I saw the
Yeah,
more recent,
yeah, the
but I watched
original
that back
one,
in
too.
the '90s where he was the trickster, and it's like,
The fact they brought him back too, I was like, oh my God! And it was like it's the closest we're gonna get to Joker, an actual live action Joker. Although I will say this, that was a little sweet though. They actually gave an end moment to the entire '90s Flash series in the Crisis on Infinite Earths, where
Yeah.
he basically runs the treadmill to his death. That shit was
Yeah,
actually
that was
really
pretty
poignant
cool.
and beautiful.
sticking on DC. Did you see the trailer for Titans came out today?
I did not. I didn't even know that dropped.
Yeah,
That's
so,
fucking dope.
We got a lot of stuff on that. Looks like we're definitely getting like we talked about last week. We're getting Brother Blood, and we're getting we're getting that kind of like weird mystical but not Ra's al Ghul like side
Yeah.
of the Bat family. So
I'm just saying, there's nobody in the show, with the exception of the now dead Hawk, that I would see sword fighting shirtless in the desert with Ra's al Ghul, because apparently that's the only way you can fight this motherfucker, is shirtless with a sword in some weird remote location.
right on the side of a mountain in a desert, yeah, something like that.
Up your girlfriend's ass. Who the fuck knows, you know?
But it's looking good. Like, I got to give that show credit. Like, it started off really bad. Oh my God, it was just like.
So the weirdest thing is that, like, and
But
it's
I
gonna-
think
it's gonna
that was
sound
more
weird.
to do with like the platform.
100% the platform.
That DC platform was just
Oh,
not ready for
terrible.
prime time, and they didn't have the money. So
I'll say this: the weirdest thing though is that, with the exception of the Hawk and Dove, which I feel like should have earned their own show,
absolutely.
it should have been separated from everything else, and it should have just been the focus of those two. The most compelling thing in season 1 of Titans for me, weirdly enough, was blaxploitation Starfire. And if it was Starfire and anything, if it was that character and anything but the name Starfire, it'd have been a great show. But the fact they're like, this is Coriander, I'm like, I'm sorry, who the fuck are you saying that is? Get the fuck, because her hair's on fire, she's not flying through the air, she's not shooting bolts. That's not fucking Starfire, get the hell
And
out
she's
of here.
not orange.
No.
Like
But,
that
the- but the-
actually,
but like if they had kept that as completely their own new unique character, the Titans, I'd actually would have been here for that story. That was a fun story.
but they've kind of like brought it all around. You know, like I thought it was interesting. Aside from like Raven and Starfire, the first season was basically like living in a world where like people just put on football pads and go beat up criminals.
Yeah.
You know, it was very much like we don't have powers, we're just stupid.
Yeah.
You know, hawk
We
and
have,
duck.
we have
you know?
an adrenaline. We have an adrenaline.
We have access to like mid-level stolen tech from Wayne Enterprises or from LexCorp, and
Queen Consolidated, Cord Enterprises, LexCorp. There's so many companies you can
Yeah.
steal shit from.
right. So that's kind of like where we got that. But they found a way to evolve it, and I gotta give them credit. Like they started off really bad. I thought the Red Hood thing was great, but they kind of drug it out a little too long last year.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we got that resolved. We'll see if we're picking up with, still getting Red Hood at some point.
You know, in classic Red Hood fashion, might be dead and come back in a year or two.
Yeah. Like it's interesting to see where they picked that up at, but it looks like we're at least getting, we got the original Robin, we got Starfire, and we got Raven. I haven't really shown anyone else yet.
Yeah, we know that Beast Boy now has a costume.
Oh yeah, no, we got Beast Boy in costume, and he's kind of like scratching himself after like getting off a plane or something like that. So he's not quite used to his costume yet. So I thought that's definitely Beast Boy. I hope they bring more of the humorous side of Beast Boy out because they've kept him way too serious. But yeah, no, it looks good. I'm excited for it. It means that HBO Max DC isn't dead, which means I still might get the rest of Doom Patrol, or at least one more season of Doom Patrol, because I think that's one of the craziest and most entertaining things.
I mean, with the Brendan Fraser renaissance we're going through, it'd be stupid not to not to keep him on screen.
Right, like use it, follow that trend. Like, even though that would have, again, because this is like the weird DC universe, like you have him as a character established that people love, and then you made him Firefly, and then you shelved that movie. So it's like,
what are you doing?
Right. Like, at least with the Marvel, they have those rules about like you can play one character in the MCU and that's it.
I mean, some
and they found ways to bend that rule a little bit, like finding out that Benedict is actually Dormammu. That was kind of a cool thing.
Well, I'm also talking about like the dude who played Melvin Gladiator in the Netflix, but he's also Skinhead Bill in like Long Live the King.
Yeah.
And they've done dual castings like that from time to time. Or Black Mariah from Luke Cage is the mom of the one guy in Civil War, the one that basically guilt tripped Tony Stark into doing that.
But now, like the Netflix thing, they're their own multiverse apparently.
Well, apparently Charlie Cox came out apparently a day or two ago and said that he confirmed that there was the same universe for his show, and they're in Marvel now.
See, I think it's a misdirect because Kevin Feige would never let him say that. Let's be honest.
Probably not.
Sniper, you would have seen the dot on his head in the middle of the interview, right?
Except they're now dealing with their new Robert Downey Jr., so they can't take him out, which means he has ultimate power, baby.
But also, he said something else recently where he's like, I'd love to retell those stories.
That'd be cool.
From the Netflix era in my show because it's a 22-episode season.
Yeah.
Right? So that tells me he's Daredevil and Vincent D'Onofrio is the Kingpin, but it is not the same universe. It's a universe where those people are those people, right? They're in the MCU now, and they have, he's been Daredevil for a while. Yeah. And even though he's got the same theme music, which was more of a, an in-joke, fourth wall break for us, but because look at Kingpin and Hawkeye.
Yeah.
That is not the Kingpin necessarily.
Unless you got a super soldier serum.
Right. But from what we know, that's like comic book Kingpin. And don't get me wrong, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
That was comic book Kingpin. And Vincent D'Onofrio chewing it up like a piece of bubblegum. And I loved every second of it. We're and again, that could be, he got experimented on like Luke Cage did possibly, because that was a thing where they were experimenting on prisoners.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Seagate.
Quite possible that, but I think it is a multiverse thing.
Yeah.
And that will give them freedom to fix what they don't like about the Netflix shows.
I still want Ben Hur to come back.
Iron Fist. So yeah, that's how we get Ben back,
Yeah.
by being it. These are our MCU Daredevil. This is our MCU Kingpin. It's the same actors as the Netflix universe, but it's a separate universe, you know. So that way we can get Ben back. We can get we can get Foggy and you know, him on like more speaking terms and not like polar opposites, you know. Because he also said he has a firm with Foggy right now.
Yeah, he does.
So
and you know, it may in fact be I'm sorry, Foggy Nelson in my arm is walking away from he may have his practice with Nelson Murdoch and Page. Don't forget that they actually come together at the end of that. So we may.
But he didn't mention Page. He just mentioned Foggy.
He mentioned he had a practice. Yeah, he mentioned.
I thought he mentioned Foggy by name.
No, he didn't mention Foggy by name. Because here's the thing, I want Foggy to mention my name because I want there to be an in-joke since he's met Jon Favreau's Happy, and Jon Favreau's the only other actor who played Foggy Nelson. Also, can I just point this out? Like, I feel like we missed a golden opportunity. The fact that we recreated the Incredible Hulk intro from the 80s, right? But hear me out. We recreated it perfectly, but didn't get a chance to showcase Charlie Cox in a red and yellow version of the Daredevil costume from the Incredible Hulk movie that occurred in that series.
Or like that
Or
Thor.
Or that Thor. Or Hemsworth in that shitty Thor costume would have been an absolute great just meta joke cameo. Done.
Yeah. And then the dude who played She-Hulk in the 70s, like, in opening.
Yeah.
Like, everyone thought it was like a female bodybuilder.
No,
And he goes on, like, Instagram and he's like, I'm a guy and I played She-Hulk, get over it. It was just so great. Because you see, like, Jennifer's face and his body. Oh, that 70s opening.
Oh, the recreation was beautiful. Just
God.
absolutely beautiful. What do you think about the Kevin ending?
The Kevin ending apparently is like splitting things wide open because like someone was like, I guess people have been taking screenshots and like blowing it up, and one of the rumors is that Kevin could have possibly been created by Kang.
Yeah.
To kind of control this timeline. So like our MCU, even though we're viewing it as entertainment, is an actual timeline.
Which is
and it's the sacred timeline.
It's brilliant in the fact that Kang would have to account for the She-Hulks and the Deadpools of the world.
Right.
To make sure they don't actually get out of the sacred timeline and fuck things up. So there would have to be layers upon layers. But then the question then is, does that mean this occurs before the end of Loki when the sacred timeline's fucked and those layers are still protected, the protection layers are still in place, or are they still in place after the end of Loki?
Here's the other thing, because of like Kang's nature, it could happen before, during, and after simultaneously.
That is true.
So he's not as beholden to the rules, but I did see a really cool breakdown on YouTube recently. Apparently, the finale of Scarlet Witch and the finale of Loki, if you play them side by side, at about the 27-minute mark in the episodes, they line up.
Really?
So apparently, there's music cues back and forth. And, like, literally, as Scarlet Witch becomes the Scarlet Witch, and you hear Agatha say, "You don't know what you've done." Literally, the next line comes from Jonathan Majors saying, "Nope, that's it. I no longer know what's happening."
Damn.
Like, and literally, you can follow the music cues along. Like, this guy played both at the same time, simultaneous with the audio on the same level on both. And it wasn't jarring. The music was literally playing across, like, evenly.
That's
like, it was
wild.
one score. So, yeah. Nothing happens in the Marvel Universe on accident, I don't think. You know, and when they do, there is an accident, they find a way to, like,
capitalize on it.
Yeah, they basically, like retrofit it into the universe. So, yeah, it's quite possible Kang or a version of Kang is responsible for Kevin.
Yeah, 100%.
It might not be the sacred timeline, but it might be their timeline that they need to be successful. So,
oh my God, hear me out. What if we get a very, very, very fat version of Kang? And that's Mojo, and that's the one responsible for Kevin.
Wow. And that's funny because my original theory on WandaVision was that it was Mojo.
That'd be
because
cool.
of the television motif. I'm
Yeah.
like, this has got to be Mojo behind this.
That'd be dope.
And how great would it have been that if they like revealed that Mojo was pulling the strings and causing these.
So I'm not gonna lie, he's dead. We couldn't use him, but if I had to cast anybody to play Mojo across time, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Tell me who would just nail that role.
Yeah, you know who else? No,
Brendan Gleeson could do a pretty good job too.
there's a lot of people that could be Mojo. I mean, he has to be like a little psychotic, but also like very TV presenter-ish. Oh, there you go, James Corden. He's a giant asshole, and he's on TV. So James Corden is Mojo.
There it is.
I mean, granted, he ruins everything he touches, but he would be very fitting. It would be a very meta casting.
That would be very meta casting. We have to find James Corden's real life enemy to get him to play long shot. Does he have beef with any Australians? That we know of?
Everyone. He has beef with everyone. You get the waiter from New York. That he could be long.
So speaking of Kang, Jonathan Majors, have you seen the new trailer for Creed?
Yes. Woo!
That movie looks like it is going to be the truth. And it looks like Jonathan Majors is literally coming for everybody's life in every movie he's going to be in the next year or two. But I still feel like having seen
Ryan
that trailer
Coogler is on fire.
Well, apparently it's Michael B. Jordan directing it now.
But he's a producer.
He's a producer?
So he's got his touch.
Yeah.
So Ryan Coogler's got Creed, even though Michael's directing, but he's still producer on it.
Yeah.
So you got Creed, Wakanda, Ironheart, like
You got a lot coming out.
I think they're giving him it's in great hands. Like
Yeah.
I love Ryan Coogler in the Marvel Universe, and I'm sad that it's taken this long to get a second dose of it.
Yeah.
And I hope that we get more. I hope they give Ryan like all of Atlantis, all of Wakanda,
That'd be dope.
and give him Ironheart franchise seems to be his already, so
Why not? Just
Keep at
the
it.
ball rolling.
yeah. I mean, it's a little exploitationary, but like if you want to give him like all the black characters, give him Blade, give him Luke Cage, give him all of them.
Yeah.
Because they're going to come from a very honest perspective, and I think they're going to be done right. Because a lot of these characters in their day were very exploited.
Or use them as a consultant to help get screenwriters and directors into those roles and into those film roles.
Like we talked about last week, I feel like they need to put people like sub Kevin Feige. You need Kevin Feige, and then you need like sub managers, like people like the Russos, or Ryan Coogler, or Taika Waititi, or Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
That they have like their own subsections, and then they farm out like different interesting directors and writers and whatnot. But then they're like the executive producer along with Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
That would be a good way to go, I think.
That would be dope.
Back into Marvel, Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
You finally seen it, right?
Yeah.
So, the elephant man in the room, man thing.
Yeah. Ted, that was dope.
And I wonder if they're going to tie it back to Iron Man 2.
Well, I guess my biggest question is, what the fuck was he doing? If was he already captured and that's the reason Loki was fucking things up? Was he asleep on the job and that's why Kang's been controlling? The man should have been in Florida, guard the Nexus of all realities like he's supposed to.
But the hunters captured him.
Yes, but was that before or after Loki is my question.
Yeah, it's hard to say, and also, he's obviously, because of the Nexus, he's been on Sakaar.
Yeah, because he definitely fought in the gladiatorial bits.
Right, we saw his face on the tower. So,
Yeah.
now to have that all coming back, I hope we're going to get more
So,
Man-Thing.
I don't know too much about, the horror monster side of Marvel, but, there was the two-headed beast, very reminiscent of Bi-Beast a little bit.
Yeah, I think, again, I don't feel anything is on accident in the Marvel Universe, so I think, that was Dracula we saw. I think, quite possibly more.
Unless you're saving Dracula to be the big bad in one of the Blade films.
But keep in mind, we didn't really meet Dracula. We just saw a drawing of Dracula and the head of a vampire.
Yeah.
Not necessarily Dracula, but I think the description in the book they showed, that was Dracula.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And the head, it's just one of his
Clearly,
vampires.
it was not Wesley Snipes. So it's
Right.
clear it's not Dracula.
Boy, if they do that, they pull that one off. If they bring in Wesley and make him Dracula,
That would be dope.
that'd be a great callback. Yeah, I really dug Werewolf by Night. I loved the way it was shot. I loved like the real change burns. I love.
Oh, that was great.
Oh my God, and then the use of red. Someone like asked, it was like Sin City. I'm like, yeah, but no, like better.
Yeah.
I think it was more like focusing on like this chaos magic is so powerful, not even a filming convention can hold it back.
Yeah.
Like.
And not only that, but like looking at it, it reminded me of almost like this is what Morbius should have been. Is a 54-minute Marvel Presents production to see if people like the character, and then you get this movie.
And you know what? I hope we get more like classic or grindhouse style Marvel stuff.
That'd be cool.
Be a great way to like do some things like the horror elements. If we did them grindhouse style,
That'd be cool as fuck.
Go-
Every Halloween you release one.
or let's go back and make Blade a grindhouse movie. Let's make more genre movies. Like
You do a team up movie between Blade and Luke Cage, and just make it a 70s blaxploitation grindhouse.
oh my God, that'd be so great. We got
Jefferson Twilight meets Black Dynamite.
Yeah, and we need to get like cameos from like everyone who's still alive.
From that era.
Yeah, everyone. Like, I want to see them.
That's the
all.
movie that Quentin Tarantino should.
For sure. Like, for sure. Because like, yeah, like that was my jam. Like, I used to work at a coffee house back in the day in Southern California.
Yeah.
And one of my customers was this old white dude, right? And every time he'd come in, I would just stare at him. And finally, he's like, "You recognize me, don't you?" I'm like, "Yes, but I don't know from where." And he's like, "I'm Whitey." And I'm like, "You're the evil white guy in every blaxploitation movie."
That's funny as fuck.
Yeah, so that's what he was. He was like one of those like, mafioso type like evil white dudes in like half of the blaxploitation movies in the 70s. One of the coolest guys I've ever met. Like, yeah. So I have a soft spot for those movies also because, again, working at a Blockbuster Video in my late teens, like Shaw Brothers movies and blaxploitation movies were all I watched.
Yeah.
So any kind of callback to that era, if you do it correctly, can be so great, and also introduce a brand new generation to those movies.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like they shouldn't go away forever. They need to be kept,
Yeah.
Party foul. Let's see. What else have we not caught up on yet? Rings of Power's done now.
Yeah, they finished that up. That was a good finale.
And then also in that She-Hulk finale, because we haven't touched on it yet, I was right last week when I called it that Charlie Cox was a liar and he was going to be in the finale.
Yeah.
And getting Scar was a really neat little stinger too.
Yeah.
Like, people are bagging on him for his hair, but I think he just had it in a bun. Calm down. He's still gonna have his long hair. Everyone,
Yeah, like people are literally shitting themselves over a 10-second appearance of a character who
will probably be recast.
Yeah, who has been given no backstory and will probably be recast. And I'm like, you just need to take a deep breath and calm the fuck down.
Yeah, seriously. You can tell when he first walks in from the side, it's like a bun. So
Yeah.
calm down. It's not some goofy looking wig or something. Like, it literally showed that he had his hair tied up. So calm down. Seriously. It's not that big a deal, right? I'm more excited that we got literally could be running into the arc where Matt Murdock moves to LA. He
That'd be
moves
dope.
to the West Coast.
Are we going to get Charlie Cox in a red sweater that says, "I'm not Daredevil"? That is the real question everybody needs an answer to.
In She-Hulk, I see that coming.
Yeah.
In She-Hulk, yes. And anything else, absolutely
Anyone
not.
else? No.
Right. Getting closer and closer to Wakanda, whatever. I'm loving the Ironheart teases they've been showing.
Yeah.
And while part of me is worried that there's stuff in this movie too full, with Namor and Ironheart and the new Black Panther, it looks like they're doing it right. And again, you watch that Creed 3 trailer, and you're like, oh yeah, it's in good hands.
It's in good hands.
It's in good hands. Like, so I'm counting down the days. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Any other movies coming up that are on your radar?
One thing I did want to ask about, like, what have you thought about the rumors going around about Sacha Baron Cohen joining the MCU as Mephisto?
I love it. And because he's very much like,
He'll be goofy or he'll be serious.
yeah, he's very much like a Jim Carrey, where he literally molds into his roles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, if you were to show someone that was uninformed Borat and Ali G side by side, there's no way they'd know that was the same actor.
Yeah.
No way they would know that. So I feel like you put him in as Mephisto, and because Mephisto can change form and he's very much a fluid character, like, that gives him room to play.
Oh, 100%.
That gives him room to play around. He can have different accents, he can have different looks, but it's still the same actor underneath.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I feel like that's going to really be the perfect casting.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that they're going with Ironheart. It's a really good mix. You know, they're saying it's dark magic versus technology.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something we really haven't gotten yet. You know,
Yeah.
like, because up to this point,
But they've always been weird dark mirrors of the hero.
or they've been like, they've kept the magic separate from the technology.
Yeah.
You know, so like, the fact that we're getting that with this, like, opens up so many doors to, like, all kinds of cool Marvel tales. And, you know, I really do hope they get the Blade thing figured out.
Me
Whether,
too.
whether it goes to Sam Raimi or whether it goes to Ryan Coogler, which I think would be the better choice, honestly, at this point. Or someone that we haven't, give it to Michael.
Yeah.
Michael Giacchino, whatever it is. Give it, because he nailed it with Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
So give him horror,
That'd be
because
dope.
he understands the genre. Give him Blade, and then backdoor that into, you know, the Midnight Suns. Give us Blade. We've already, you know, and then, like, we can get, because we've already established Blade meeting the Black Knight. You can even have Kit Harington in all of Blade, because he's already met him.
Yeah. 100%.
So it could basically be the birth of Midnight Suns. Maybe we get where, like, he's using, you know, Black Knight to find Dracula or whatever it is, right?
That'd be interesting, yeah.
Or find Morbius. I don't know,
Yeah.
right?
Keep Morbin time away from the MCU.
Yeah. Do like, you know, the Deadpool 2 end scene where it's like going into the different universes and wiping
Caps
out.
Morbius.
Yeah. But, you know, like, give them those movies and then build into that horror side, you know.
Yeah.
Because I think he really did nail it with Werewolf by Night. So I'd love to see. It doesn't have to be black and white. It doesn't have to have the cigarette burns, but, like, he's got a great lens for it, and he understands the genre, and he obviously knocked his first, like, real big project outside of music out of the park.
Yeah, he really did. He
So
killed it.
give him more. You know, I've heard Blade.
He's earned it.
Especially because the Blade is going to get turned to a series instead of a movie, which I think might be the better choice. I love Blade, and I love Mahershala Ali. But there's another dual casting.
Yeah.
Because, again, this is why I think the Netflix universe is separate from the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Right? Because he was also Copperhead. But Blade is probably a better vehicle. Give me a Blade series. Maybe give us a Werewolf or Man-Thing series. And then you give us, you know, you can give us a Black Knight series.
That'd be dope.
Kit Harington is still doing TV. Jon Snow show's coming up, right? So he's not opposed to it.
And he's already in England, just filming up there.
Right, so give us a Black Knight show. And then give us Ghost Rider as the last, like, piece of the
That'd be
puzzle.
dope.
And then bring him and
Midnight
Moon Knight.
Suns?
Right, we're going to keep getting seasons of Moon Knight. You bring all of them together for one big movie.
Yeah.
That's your Midnight Suns movie. We've already established these characters for years on TV. I think that puts it in a better position.
Yeah, 100%.
Where Blade is like, people are going to be thinking Wesley Snipes. They don't know he's a comic book character necessarily. So,
Yeah.
like, I think that's a better entry to get the normies in.
Yeah, 100%.
That's where I'm at on that. Let's see what else we got coming up. Tales of the Jedi next week.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I can't wait.
It looks like it's filling some gaps. You know, so I'm stoked for that. let's see, what else we got coming up? I know there's more. Bad Batch is not till the beginning of the year, which is super bummed out.
We're kind of in like a now like sort of lull going into the holiday season, with the exception of like
the holiday special.
That's the holiday special. We got no information about that really. Until,
I don't want any information.
Me either.
And I wish B. Arthur wasn't dead because I want her in it. Maybe James Gunn recorded a cameo before she died. I don't know. Maybe he got Betty White before she passed away. You know, like
who knows?
Something like that. Because we got some kind of like. I want them to send it, just like they did the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Yeah.
And I don't care what you say, George. I play it every year for Christmas. And one day they're going to put it on Disney Plus, whether you like it or not.
With the day he dies, it'll go live.
Yeah. Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot for that.
Yeah, it's kind of like you said, it's that dry period. But, we're also eking up on next year is going to be non-stop content.
Oh, yeah.
We have Bad Batch, and then we have Ahsoka, and then we have Mando, and then,
Not to mention the next round of all the Marvel shows and the Marvel movies we got dropping next year.
Because, Ironheart and Armor Wars and Secret Invasion and just so much going on.
Oh, I know. I can't wait.
Yeah. Like, what they're going to do with Secret Invasion, I have no idea.
But I'm here for it. Let's do it.
I mean, I saw, someone was like, they could give us, like, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. They could give us, like...
Yeah, they give us a shitload of people.
Right. I mean, they could literally tell us that Tom Holland is a Skrull and Andrew Garfield is the true, Peter Parker, and, we could get all kinds of wackiness.
Yeah, we could.
Because that's what... I mean, I know I think they're going more for, like, the second Secret Invasion, but, like, the first one was literally, like, everyone you thought was a good guy has been a super Skrull in hiding the entire time.
Yeah.
Like, the Fantastic Four is, like, half Skrulls, half, humans, and, just, like, like, half the X-Men were Skrulls, and the other half were mutants, they could do so much with it. It's so exciting. But that brings me back to, like, She-Hulk dropped so much in that short season. We got X-Men. We got Red Hulk references. We got Wolverine references on the, like, the little Easter eggs on the screen. We got, like, 2 mutants. We got a bunch of rando D-listers. We got,
set up a whole shitload of stuff that just flesh out that universe that we've gotten so much of so far.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're going to keep doing that would be pretty dope,
Yeah, we've established Scar and, Abomination and Hulk are back, which is going to set up World War Hulks, obviously.
Yeah.
That's what they're leading up to, I think. And then, I forgot the biggest news of all, the rumor we've been talking about since we started this podcast.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford. Deadline is saying he is Thunderbolt Ross.
Which, I'm excited for. Part of me is a little disappointing because it's like, I'm happy for it, but it's like, can we get someone that might not drop dead the next 2 years? Like, I'd like him to meet and get to Thunderbolts filming first.
I think we will. I think, as long as he doesn't fly any more planes, we should be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, dude. I love you, but stop flying. There's a lot of exciting stuff on the horizon. I love that whole point of not knowing. I'm seeing a lot of weird, just negative takes on everything lately, and I'm just so over it. In case you haven't figured out, we're pretty much about positivity, unless it's about DC or Finn as Iron Fist. But other than that, I'm a pretty positive guy when it comes to this nerd stuff.
Yeah.
Someone always asks me when I talk about Star Wars, for instance. They're like, well, what about? And I'm like, don't care, still more Star Wars.
Yeah.
Whether good, bad, or ill, we're still living in a universe that we got teased, way back in 77. Mm-hmm. And none of us as kids thought that this was going to go anywhere. Much less when we got Empire, we were blown away. Like, you made 2 movies about the same thing? That's wild.
Yeah.
And then you gave us another one, and while it wasn't on Kashyyyk, it was on Endor instead. We still weren't super sad. We still got more Star Wars,
Yeah.
And then it took forever. And we thought Star Wars is done. Like, you got 3 movies out of it, you should be happy.
Yeah.
Now we've got 10 movies, multiple TV shows, multiple, like, the Clone Wars alone was more content in the Clone Wars cartoon series than all of Star Wars up to that point.
Basically, it was, 100%.
So, like, the fact that we're getting to play in that universe, I'm super psyched because, like, again, it's just more Star Wars. And that's how I am about Marvel, too. Like, someone's asking me about She-Hulk, like, oh, like, doesn't it frustrate you? I'm like, no. You know what She-Hulk is? And this is still my theory to this day. She-Hulk is the kind of show you would get if you lived in the Marvel universe. So hear me out, right? If you lived in a universe where there's like gods and super soldiers and superheroes and magicians and interdimensional beings, right? And New York gets destroyed every couple of years, right? Your TV would reflect that because that's the world you live in.
100%.
So of course, if you've got an Ally McBeal 90s rom-com / not really procedural, but like legal comedy, it's gonna star a superhero.
Yeah.
So that's how I came into it. And like while they and that's why I now understand why they just sprinkled in the lore. They just like sprinkled in like the continuity. Because if you watch those shows from the 90s, especially sitcoms, they're situational comedies.
Yeah.
People seem to misunderstand what situational comedy is. They think situational is like the central perk. No, that's just because they were cheap and it was easier to have 2 or 3 sets.
Yeah.
The situation is better, reflected in Seinfeld. It's normal, everyday things, but the humor in that, right?
Yeah.
So it's more like the humor in you're a superhero lawyer and you get the goofiest cases handed to you.
Yeah.
So looking at it from that perspective, or like she says, like wedding episodes because they're never convenient. Like it's, if you view it, I want you to rewatch it after hearing me out, right?
Yeah.
Rewatch it as if it's a 90s sitcom in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
And it makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Because then, like, you understand that the lore sprinkles, it's more like, it's actually, I think it's part of that fourth wall break. Right?
Yeah.
So it's more of like a storytelling fourth wall break, like where it's telling us, like, yes, this is going somewhere. But at the same time, like, it's really just Jen's show about being a lawyer who's also a superhero.
Yeah.
And when you view it like that, it changes everything. And it's wild. Like, when I started viewing the show like that, I was like, I'm on board for this. Just a goofy sitcom. It just happens to be set in the MCU.
Yeah.
And if we get more shows like that, where it's like this TV you would see, like you could get an Unsolved Mysteries type show, and it's like Man-Thing sightings and Moon Knight sightings and like Ghost Rider sightings,
Yeah.
When you come at it from that perspective, it's like, right?
Yeah.
Because that opens up so much more. Like, think of the TV you could get out of that if they just shot it from the perspective, you live in the MCU, here's your entertainment.
100%.
I just did that. I just blew your mind. Anything else?
No, I think that was pretty much what I had on my list for today.
Yeah, I mean, same here. Like you said, we're going in the dry season, but we got the finale of House of Dragon this weekend, so we'll definitely be back for that. Might take a little short break, but we'll definitely be back for Wakanda Forever.
100%. It's like 3 or 4 weeks away, so it won't be too long of a wait.
I might go ahead and torture myself and go see Black Adam next week. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check it out just to see what it's like.
Right. So we might talk a little bit about,
what DC's trying to do, the Distinguished Competition's trying to get up to.
I mean, at least we're gonna get, Dr. Fate.
Yeah, we're getting Dr. Fate, we're getting Adam Smasher, I forget what the Tornado chick is, and then we get Hawkman. Those are the 4 characters I'm most set up for. Not Black Adam, unfortunately, but the other supporting characters.
Wild how that works, right?
Yeah.
All right, thanks, y'all. It's Justin.
It's Nick. Thanks for checking us out, guys.
We'll see you next time, all right?
100%.
Later.
See you next week.